Growing up in church was easy. My family loved coming to church, and I loved coming to church. Being in Sunday school and seeing all the different things and hearing all the different stories. I remember I would turn around and face the opposite way and sit on the ground and use the pews in our old sanctuary to draw and to do different things. And I remember I would always lay with my head in my mom's lap and my feet in my dad's lap, or vice versa. And I would sleep, during Sunday night service when we were in service. But growing up in church was easy. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it and I loved it. And then thinking that once I went to college that I was going to win everybody that was at college to Christ. That was my goal when I left church, or when I left high school, is that I was going to go to one of the largest universities in the United States, and I was going to turn that university around. Then the third year happened, and that's when I really fell away from the Lord. I began to do things that I grew up knowing were wrong, and that's just how I went about my business. And instead of me showing them Christ, I had made bad relationships, and that they were actually pulling me away from my walk with the Lord. And I remember getting in my car and making that trip up 71, and it was raining. And I just remember driving at between 65 and 70 miles per hour. I don't remember much about that night, but I do remember slamming into the back of another car. And I remember thinking, what in the world just happened? And I remember calling my parents, and they and my brother drove up to meet me. And as I'm sitting in the car waiting for the police to get there, I look in the back seat, and my Bible was sitting there. It was one of those wake-up moments that I had that I could have died in that moment, and I probably should have. But God's grace is bigger than I could have ever imagined. He saved me. He saved me from that life that I was living. And in that moment, it took me a while to get back on the right track, but that moment was a defining moment in my life. That was my wake-up call. And in that moment, I really felt the presence and the Spirit of God just come inside of me and really affirm that I was making the right decision and returning back to Him. That He never wanted to harm me, He never wanted to hurt me, but He wanted me to get back to who I was in Him. And that even though I grew up in church and then went away, that God was able to bring me back. And He was able to put me back on the right track. And that I had that wake-up call that I hope that nobody else ever has to have. But I had it. And now I'm heading the direction that I need to be. I'm Steve Blower, and this is my real life story.